This is something that drives me so crazy about the media coverage of Trump. What do you hear? Donald Trump could give the most wonderful, hopeful, sunny speech in the world. And actually, he did give one of those in South Dakota at Mount Rushmore. And the media said it was dark and divisive. Trump, he's pessimistic, he's dark, he's angry. No, President Trump is the sunniest politician of my lifetime. Probably the only sunnier politician in recent memory was Ronald Reagan, who would say America's best days lie ahead. And then you have Joe Biden, who says America's darkest days lie ahead. Everyone says Trump is fear-mongering. Trump isn't fear-mongering at all. Trump says we're going to find solutions, don't live in fear of the virus. Joe Biden is the one fear-mongering. And he's doing it for a couple of reasons. One, because if he gets to the White House, he will institute some draconian policies for some short period of time, and then he'll claim credit for having cured the virus, even though he doesn't deserve any credit for that, because we already got the cure before Joe Biden became, frankly, we got it before even the election, but they announced it a week after the election. We already know all of this. But he would claim credit for it. And two, because it's a way to amass more power. And that's what these politicians have been pulling the whole time. So if America's darkest days lie ahead, how are we going to get through those dark days? A lot of people have been out of work at this point, 11 months? Congress sent them $1,200. Maybe people got $1,200 earlier. Doesn't get you very far. Well, now we've got a wonderful, major, important stimulus, COVID relief plan. Congress is going to send some of you $600 for being out of work 11 months. And Nancy Pelosi says this is very significant.
We also have in the legislation direct payments, which were not in the Republican bill, to America's working families. I would like them been bigger, but they are significant, and they will be going out soon.
Very significant. Now, look, Pelosi, she wishes it could have been bigger. How big is this relief bill going to be? It's going to be like $1 trillion, and there's another trillion some odd dollars added on with all sorts of foreign aid and all sorts of payoffs to political cronies. But, unfortunately, all Congress could find was $600 measly for the inconvenience of destroying your livelihoods for the past year. Significant. Is $600 significant? I don't think so, when we're talking about keeping you out of work for an entire year. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't think so, too, if it were politically convenient for her to say what she really thought. Because I remember 2 years ago, do you remember this? 2 years ago, President Trump passes this tax bill, this tax reform bill, and Nancy Pelosi comes out and says this bill is terrible. It gives tax breaks to zillionaires and corporations. And that wasn't true. The tax bill also gave about $1,000 in relief to individuals. And Nancy Pelosi, $1,000, who needs $1,000? That ain't nothing but crumbs.
In terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving to workers to kind of put the schmooze on is so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
It is pathetic. I hate to say that I agree with Nancy Pelosi 2 years ago, but I do agree with Nancy Pelosi 2 years ago. By the way, at the time, in terms of a tax bill, that's a pretty good break. But we are now in this unprecedented moment where these politicians, for their own political ends, can't forget it was an election year, decided to shut down the country, destroy people's lives. Even before the coronavirus gave them the excuse to do this, you had prominent left-wingers, guys like Bill Maher, who said, we need a recession. We need a recession. I know it'll hurt some people, but we need it because that's the only way that we can get Trump out. So, and frankly, the left did more than give us a recession. The left shut down the country for a year. And then the way they're going to make it up to us is $600. No, I can't tell you how many letters I've seen, tweets, posts, all over the place from people who say, I lost my savings, I lost my business, my family is really struggling, and you can take your $600 and shove it. I don't want it. It's just not enough. I would much rather, and I think a lot of people feel this way, not get the $600 right now, even if a lot of people need it, and I know a lot of people who need it. Better to not get the $600 than to go along with this outrageous, offensive bill that is going to indebt generations after us, first of all, because of these ridiculous spending projects, and that is, frankly, such a slap in the face. These elite politicians in D.C., members of both parties, more the Democrats, but some Republicans too, saying, the plebeians, they're complaining again. Give them $600. $600. What does that come out? It comes out to about $6 a day since they shut down the country. That's adding it on to the $1,200 that we got early on. $6 a day, not worth it, not going to make a difference. They need to veto this bill. Very fortunately, President Trump has intimated that he will veto this bill. He's just going to stop it right in its tracks. President Trump comes out yesterday over the protests of his advisors, over the protests of Republican leadership in the Congress, Republican leadership in the Senate. And he says, this bill is outrageous and not good enough for me.
I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done. Thank you very much.
So President Trump goes in, and I love that he's not giving up hope, by the way. Absolutely love that. He goes in and he describes what is going on in this COVID relief bill.
The $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments, and not enough money is given to small businesses, and in particular restaurants, whose owners have suffered so grievously. They were only given a deduction, but 2 years is not acceptable. It's not enough. Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it. It wasn't their fault. It was China's fault, not their fault. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
Love that. Absolutely. My man, let's do it. What you're going to hear from a lot of left-wingers now is, wait a second, I thought Republicans were concerned about spending too much money. We don't want to spend money on your stupid investments, which are really just payoffs to the liberal institutions. We don't want to spend a bunch of money to study shrimp running on treadmills. We don't want to spend a bunch of money on all of that nonsense. But we do want to spend money when you are insisting that Americans not work for a year. So he says, this is not going to work. I am demanding that you increase this number from 600 to 2,000. All of his advisors around him were saying, no, come on, that's not how it's done. You should have said this earlier when the Republicans were negotiating. I don't care about the Republican leadership in the House and in the Senate. What have they done for us lately? The one good thing I'll say about Republican leadership in the Senate, they've given us a lot of judges. Not that it's mattered a whole lot, but it's something. But for the rest, I don't care. Good, send them back. As President Trump says, this could be the problem for the future administration. But he is not going to put his name on this trash. And then he comes in and says that the next administration might be him. I love that. Thank you. Some fight, some spine. He doesn't have to give this thing up until January 20th. Maybe there will be some Deus ex machina that comes in before then, just that Kraken we were promised. Maybe something happens. But even if not, Trump is going to keep on fighting. He's going to keep acting as the president of the United States until the very end. I do hope the next administration is his because Joe Biden is a liar and a crook. Joe Biden is going out from the office of the president-elect, and he's giving his sort of silly press conferences to these fawning reporters. And then occasionally you'll get a reporter who doesn't just give him everything he wants. Peter Doocy from Fox News asks Joe Biden if the allegations against his son Hunter are Russian disinformation. And Joe Biden, oh, he laughs and laughs. Though, of course, those allegations, they're completely ridiculous. It's all Vladimir Putin.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you.
On Russian disinformation, Mr. President-elect, do you still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said?
Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. I tell you. Thank you. I promise you my Justice Department will be totally on its own making its judgments about how they should proceed. Thank you.
First question. What is a one-horse pony? Is there any relation between the one-horse pony, presumably a pony that only rides on one horse, and a dog-faced pony soldier? Usually a dog-faced pony soldier could get on a one-trick pony, but I've never heard of a one-horse pony before. I guess Joe got a little confused. How strange, huh? Also, the Hunter Biden allegations, which big tech and the mainstream media spent weeks actively suppressing in an unprecedented way on big tech. They wouldn't even let you message the New York Post article discussing those allegations out. Then later on they said, oh, look at these allegations. Gosh, what could those be? Those allegations cannot be Russian disinformation because Hunter Biden already confirmed the allegations. He already confirmed that there is an investigation into his finances at the federal level. The investigation into his finances has been going on before Bill Barr even got to the DOJ. This is another great example where the Biden family needs to get on the same page with regard to their lies, because Hunter Biden comes out, says, I never talked to my dad about Joe Biden comes out first. He says, I never talked to Hunter about Hunter's business dealings. Then Hunter goes and gives an interview to a magazine and later to television and said, yeah, I talked to my dad about the business dealings. And he said, I better know what I'm doing. And then you can actually, on the TV interview, you see Hunter Biden realize that he wasn't supposed to say that. He goes, we didn't talk. There was no conversation. And then thankfully the interviewer actually said, hold on, you just told me there was a conversation. He goes, yeah, well, okay, that was it though, but that was the only conversation. So they're not on the same page. Now we know Joe Biden absolutely 100% knew about Hunter Biden's business dealings. Well, same thing here. Hunter Biden's acknowledging the investigation. Joe Biden probably should too. Joe Biden has been lying for his entire political career. He dropped out of the 1988 race because he lied and plagiarized. He's been lying about really serious things for a long time. Another one of these projections. They always say Trump's the big liar. Trump doesn't lie about it. Trump exaggerates his crowd sizes the way that New Yorkers talk. Okay, the way that every single person that I know in New York, sometimes they get a little, they like to embellish their stories a little bit, but it's not a lie. Joe Biden saying, yeah, my son Hunter's crimes are Russian disinformation. That's a lie. That lie matters. That's the liberal establishment for you.